I'm Ron and I'm back again, you know already, with another round of sports views. But tonight, we are reviewing the second leg of the CONCACAF League preliminary round tie of Forge versus Antigua GFC. Antigua, 0. Forge, 0. Forge moves on 2-1 in the aggregate. They move on to face CD Olympia of Honduras in the round of 16 of the Scotiabank CONCACAF League. Wow. I mean, the match, it was a very good match. It didn't have the goals, but probably because I like watching football, I do like tactics. And it's refreshing when I actually see teams play with tactics, because that's TFC does not. But this game was a very, very good game. Very tight played game. Forge's defense was outstanding. Crutzen, David Edgar, when he was on for the 10 minutes he was on, well, 10 minutes plus he was on. Tristan Henry, goalkeeper for Forge, great. We needed that performance. Great performance. We needed that, because if he didn't do that, if he was just a little bit off, Forge would be out. Tristan Henry, hand for you. Give you a hand, and the Forge defense gonna give you all a hand, because y'all put Forge into the round of 16 through this preliminary round tie. Antigua did very well to put us on our toes, I'd have to say, or Forge. I support Forge and York 9 in the CPL. One, I live in America, so I support the league, but York 9 and Forge because they're the Toronto area clubs. If you know me, you get it. I may be weird, but if you know me, you get it. I don't live in those areas, so I know there's a derby, but I do not live in those areas, so I just support the Toronto area clubs, the two Toronto area clubs. And, of course, whenever they're in the CONCACAF League. I mean, whatever CPL clubs in the CONCACAF League I probably would support. I just wouldn't follow them like I would Forge or York 9. But if Valor made it, I would. If Calvary made it, I would. You know what I'm saying. But Forge, they were put on their toes. It wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy 0-0 draw. Antigua took a lot of shots from outside the box. They made some very good runs. They had very good offensive play. But the defense stood firm. And if Tristan Henry had to, he'd make a save. Or he'd get right on the play when he had to get on the play. They had a good couple of corners. They played well. They did foul a lot. They tried to CONCACAF the game up, just like... It's not really the Mexican sides to talk about when there's CONCACAFing. It's the refs and the Central American sides, I guess. Because Independiente and Antigua, those are the sides that when I watch these CONCACAF games, from all games that I've watched, using them as an example, they are the ones who foul a lot. Because if they want any chance to win over a side that's a North American or Mexican side, they have to foul. They have to cut you down. They can't let you just build up. Because they were fouling Forge players a lot. Now, I mean, Forge isn't as good as a Toronto FC or an MLS club, or, I mean, I want the league to get there, but this is their first year. It's going to happen through time. But right now, they're not that far off. Central American clubs and the Canadian Premier League clubs. That's why the Canadian Premier League is in the CONCACAF League instead of being able to go straight into the Champions League. Because if they were, the Jamaican team, Portmore United, would not be in the 10. That's the reason they set this up the way they did. Because, yeah, the CPL is going to get good enough to kind of pass up these Central American clubs at some point. But right now, they're basically at the same level. How do I put this? It's a compliment to the Canadian Premier League that they're already as good as these Central American leagues. Already. Not just, just slightly better. But they're in the same grouping, so why not put them in the league with all these Central American leagues? Now, I know it's unfair because at first, before this, the Central American leagues got in automatically and there was only the champion of the CONCACAF league, but now I don't know why they changed it up so much that there's 6 teams going in from the CONCACAF league and not just the champions. I don't get it, but if it gives the CPL a better chance to get CONCACAF experience, which I guess that's something Montagliani did to kind of help Canadian soccer, but then he went and shot himself in the foot with a World Cup qualifying situation. I may talk about that a little bit before Nations League, though. But really? Really? You had to do that? Canada's basically damned to the Get Bent tournament and then the 2 playoffs. They basically are. Unless they somehow win Nations League, like, triumphantly. Like, they just go on a freaking tear. And they just beat the U.S. twice pretty well. They beat Cuba twice. And then they win their semifinal and final. Yeah. I don't like... I support Canada. Don't like their chances. I don't like their chances to get into the top 6 of CONCACAF national teams. But we'll talk. That's for another video. But there's no goals. Of course, I'm gonna fluff this out with like my thoughts. The defense was good. The goalkeeper was good. That's basically all I can say. Yeah, the offense for Forge did good when they had to, and they got fouled a lot, so they couldn't just keep their momentum going, which led to the defense having to win them this game, or draw them this game, win them this tie. Of course, I have to kind of fluff this out, but I think it's kind of better when I actually do super analysis, not just saying, okay, here's who scored the goals. Here's what goals were scored. I like what happened. Man of the match. Like, when I actually can really, like, dig into it, I think people like it better. Or when I'm ranting and not even digging into it, I'm just pissed beyond all belief. One of the two. That's when people really like it, instead of me just going like, oh, here's who scored the goals, here's how the goals were scored, blah, blah. But I kind of have to do that. But there was no goals, so I can't do that. So, fluff it out. But again, I will talk about the World Cup, CONCACAF World Cup qualifying thing in a later video. I should have done it earlier, but I've been lazy this summer. I'll talk about it soon. Qualifying hasn't really started yet, so I'll talk before the Nations League in September. Yeah. So, Antigua played very well. They scared me a couple of times. They scared me. They were knocking on the door a couple of times. They scared me. And Forge, they did what they had to do. They got the draw. I have to give Antigua their due for how good they played. Central American teams, they're good teams. I'm not saying they're, like, hackers. They're good teams. They're good teams. Like, teams who make this tournament are good teams. You can't just look past them saying, oh, I don't know who they are. You have to look into them. And then the more you watch them, the more you see, they got quality. They're good. I'd like to have these sort of players. Like, you can make a little bit of a list saying, oh, I'd love to have these players on my MLS team or my CPL team or something like that. Like, you can do that. Like, with Independiente, I said Omar Brownie, Romish IV, those types of players. Like, you have players, like Antigua has good players. I wouldn't be surprised, like, if they would have made a better run, that they could have went to MLS. Just like Brownie did. But I expect some Canadian Premier League teams to pick up some of these players in the next transfer window. I wouldn't be surprised, because they did well. These Pinto, he was a good player. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see some Canadian Premier League teams pick up these Antigua players. I wouldn't be surprised. So, men of the match for Forge, the defense, the whole defense, and Tristan Henry. So, thank you for watching. Share this video if you liked it. Like it, subscribe, comment. You know what it is. Tell all your friends. CPL history was made, and Forge is going on to face Olympia in the round of 16. I'm Ron, and I'm out. Peace.